brother owned this book.
Brent Icon?
Yeah.
All right. Good book.
Brent Eichhoff.
He was a man.
Last seat in that row is where he typically sat. That was a year when we had third year and AP in the same period.
Oh.
Oh.
And I would work every other day. Third year sat over here, AP sat over here, and every other day I'd go back and forth.
Yeah, Ryan Lorenz.
That must have been
We get behind, we
Crazy
constantly,
soldier
we
Yeah.
constantly get behind as it is with this many people in the class.
Yeah, I know. Think about what would have happened then. So,
Gosh, Christian, you're
okay.
Where did you lose that memory from?
2 years ago.
Yes.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. No, couldn't do it now. Couldn't do it now.
30 to 20 days.
Found out yesterday that indeed, just as Juno had predicted, Dido and Aeneas ended up where? In the cave. One could say in spelunca and in amore, right? In the cave and in love. And after that, well, gee whiz, what ceased to happen?
The
Work.
place you seem to be built.
No more work going on in Carthage. Everything just kind of grinds to a halt. And Virgil says that day was the primus lati, primus malorum.
First day of death.
First day of death, first day of all that is evil. And then, to make matters worse, I mean, it would be bad enough. Okay, it's bad enough that your leader, you know, goes off with this dude. But there's fama. There's rumor. Rumor going around, and rumor is described as clearly a beast, a monster.
Feathers, eyes, ears, mouth.
All this numbers of eyes, ears, mouth, and adjective keeps getting applied here is Keller.
Yeah, it's quicker.
Quick, swift. Nothing is quicker. No evil is quicker than rumor. Rumor seems to particularly to be up and about medio nocte, line 184, in the middle of the night. And even though in Luke, it sits where? Up on the rooftops. And Magnas terratab urbes. Frightens big cities. Tam ficti provique tenax quam nuntia veri. And I promised yesterday that we would talk about BS. So,
BS, you never played that.
we know what it stands for, right? We don't need to.
Bologna sandwich.
Bologna sandwich, exactly right. Bologna sandwich.
Come on, Mr. Perkins, just say it.
I like it.
Be edgy.
There you go.
No, one year you were like the fecal matter of a male bovine animal.
Did I really? Talk about a paraphrastic way to say it.
Even saying paraphrastic seems like, you know, like what you
Paraphrastic?
kind of like
The paraphrastic is a paraphrastic word. It's
Yeah,
a very
yeah,
roundabout
yes.
way of saying something. Exactly right. Oh no, though nothing so good as anfractuous.
You are so into that word.
I am. I am.
Tattoo.
I can't
In
remember
fact, the article that I have
Hold
pretty
on,
well
wait.
said. Yeah.
What does words matter in Latin? I need to ask for a tattoo. Words matter in Latin.
Words
Matter.
matter.
Yes.
Well, you know the word for word. You know the word for word. What's that? Well, it's the second punch in neuter.
Wereba.
So be wereba in the plural, right? I'm going to suggest, and I don't know if you would go agree with this, but I'm going to suggest wereba sunt gravia.
Words are grave.
Yeah, words are weighty. Words have weight and importance to them.
Cooper, don't do this to me.
You know. At any rate, talking about rumor. Pick it up in 188 there. Tam ficti pravique tenax quam nuntia vere. As the tam and the quam, by the way, another correlative pair, as blah blah blah, as blah blah blah. All right, so the tam and the quam go together as a correlative pair. Rumor is described as being as tenax, as tenacious, right, as holding on to, of that which is ficti and pravi,
Fiction and
is fictitious, and pravus, perverse.
wrong.
All right, so rumor loves that kind of stuff. Rumor loves stuff that is a flat-out lie, that is fiction. It loves stuff that is what we call salacious. There's a good word.
Libelous.
Salacious. Do we know this word in English?
Do now.
It's related to the word sal, for salt. Salt adds spice. It's also the Latin word for wit. Sal, the word for salt, is also the word for wit in Latin. And so somebody often will talk about salacious details. Well, that's all the stuff that, you know, you just want to know. You know, you don't really need to know.
Spice.
Right, you know,
Ah.
right. So there's an accident, you know, you say there's an accident on the corner. All right, that's all you probably really need to know. And you don't really need to know that the person's head was almost cut off and was hanging by a strip of flesh 2 centimeters wide, and that the head was actually flopping back and forth like a dead chick. Now those are salacious details, okay? That's more than you need to, but people love it. They want to know that kind of stuff, right? That's salacious.
No.
Right? So it is tenacious of that which is ficti and pravi, as it is a nuntia veri. A messenger of what is true. Okay. Princeton philosophy professor. Name of Harry Frankfurt. Has written, since his retirement, he's professor emeritus, we say, now from Princeton. He's written 2 very slender little books, and if I'd had any kind of sense whatsoever, I would have brought one or both of them in today. Tiny, and I'm talking actually in height, very small, and very, very thin. And so we know a lot of times philosophical treatises will be titled on such and such, right? So that means you're talking about such and such.
On poetic.
On poetics, on education, on blah, blah. In the first of his little books, came out a few years ago, he did not abbreviate his title. It was on BS, but it was fully spelled out. Okay. That was the title of the book. And this is not a joke book. This was a series, but it's a teeny little book, just a little essay, basically, on the concept of BS. And his second book, again in the same vein, was titled On Truth. And he explored what is really BS. We seem to have so much of it. People talk about it all the time. People seem not to like it, yet people will use it. People will fling it. You know, so all these things around, you know, and it seems to be a growing issue. So he, from a philosophical perspective, wanted to see, well, what is it? What actually is it? And then, what of it? What do we do about it, or how do we classify it? And he decided, and I kind of agree with this, that you've got really 3 different things. You've got truth, you've got lie, and you've got BS. So, right? Keys. So you say to me, what do you have in your pocket? I say, I have keys in my pocket. I've told the truth. Okay. You say, what do you have in your pocket? And I say, I have the stapler in my pocket. Now, it's a lie. Okay. Now, let's say for a moment that I don't know. I've honestly forgotten what I put in what pocket, and I'm, you know, academic kind of guy. I don't really pay attention to stuff like that, which is far more accurate than you know. But it's entirely possible you'd ask the question, and I really wouldn't know what was in my pocket. And then I could say, keys.
That's true.
I might say, the stapler.
It's not BS.
Both of those statements, in that context of the setup, would be BS. Not actually knowing the truth, I just say something.
That's a good definition.
Now, BS, by Frankfurt's definition, is the absolute disregard for the truth. Different from a lie. The lie requires you to know the truth. You have to know the truth in order to lie. Else it's BS. And because the lie is ultimately rooted in truth, Frankfurt concludes that BS is far more damaging and dangerous to society than lying. Because it's a complete disregard for the truth. Now think about it in the educational context. When you BS on a test, that's exactly what you're doing.
I have a 20% to
You
get
got
right.
a question, you have no real idea what the answer is, you're going to throw some stuff down there, you don't care whether it's true, you don't care whether it's false, you're just hoping to get points. And if it buffaloes the teacher into thinking you're smart, great. You'll take the points. That's definitely BS. There's a complete disregard for the truth. Okay. And that, says Virgil, is fama. And I like this line. As tenacious, as clinging to what is fictitious, as it is a messenger of what is true. Rumor doesn't care. Rumor deals largely in BS. It just doesn't matter. It's a rumor. Okay? Haec tum multiplici populos sermoni replebat gaudens, et pariter facta quinfecta connebat. And really get a restatement of that in line 190. Okay? What does rumor go around doing? It was replebat the populos.
Was filled.
Make it active, was filling up the populos. And you want maybe be careful about this, it's the peoples. Now who are the peoples here?
Everyone.
Specifically, there are two peoples.
Oh, so
The Trojans and Carthaginians. Is the Trojan people and the Carthaginian people. Rumor is spreading around all the folks and filling them up with multiplici sermone.
With much.
No, with full.
Let's talk about it.
All right, multiple's all right. Certainly a derivative. So it's a compound of multus and the verb plico plicare, which we have seen before, and that word gives us lots of other good words. Plico plicare. Do we remember this?
Yeah, no.
Is the verb that means to fold. To fold.
So it's like
Okay.
exponential.
So, just stay on this for a moment. The word supplex, we've had that before.
Oh, yeah.
Sub plus plicare. One whose knees are folded under. So if you're in a position of having your knees folded under you, you are in a humble position. Supplex can mean humble, or our own derivative of this, suppliant. If you are suppliant before the king or the queen, that means you've gone in all humble, you're down on your knees, you're begging, and that kind of thing. Okay? Now think of it again in English. If you implicate your friend in a crime, you have folded them into it.
Oh, cool.
Right? You brought them into it, right? And so multiply really means multiple folds. Right? So this conversation, this sermone, has multiple folds, multiple levels, among the Trojans and the Carthaginians. What was that? We have our word manifold there as well. Yeah,
So
that's good.
manifold means multiple folds.
No. Manifold is more, at least we usually use it in the sense of clearly out in the open. So for example, Michelangelo was an artist of manifold greatness, clear, open greatness. But then again, no, we can use it in a multiple sense too. Manifold talents. So yeah, we can use it in a multiple. In
There's a song called Manifold Curiosity.
I would say in that case it probably is the multiple levels of curiosity. So there's lots of levels to the conversation. Rumor did this Gaudanes. Rumor filled everybody up Gaudanes. Rejoicing. Rumor was happy to do it. Rumor was, yeah, Mickey, you got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Pariter Kanebat. Equally Kanebat. And you could take that literal meaning.
And equally eating?
No.
Singing.
Sing.
Oh,
They equally sang or told of, right? Recited,
I'm so sorry.
right? We've been talking about that all year. Equally recited what was facta and infecta.
What was true?
Okay, literally though, what was facta,
All was back.
what was done, and what was infecta. What was not done. I mean, Rumor would say stuff that they actually did do, you know, or it came together, and then Rumor by extension might say, oh yeah, and then they were kissing under the apple tree. Doesn't matter whether one of these was actually done or not done. Rumor's spreading it all around. Yes.
Does infected relate to infection?
It does. The problem with the prefix in is it really can have two totally different senses. There's in the sense of into, and that's infection. That which has been made into you, right? And then there's in, which is just a general negative or negating prefix, and that's what it is here. Yes.
So the affection part would come from like facio?
From facio.
Okay.
Facio, facere, faci, factus. Okay. Venisse aenean Troiano sanguine cretum, qui se pulchra viro dignator iungere dido. Okay. All right, so give some examples of stuff that Rumor said. That aenean Kratom Troiano sanguine, Trojan blood, had, when you say? It's your basic verb. Had come, had arrived. Dative cui, not by which, but to which. Pulchredido, beautiful Dido. Dignator jungere se. To whom beautiful Dido deigned, I love that word, deigned to jungere se, to join herself. So, there's a musical. In all the years I've been here at North Central, we've never done it. Was made into a movie. Great musical called Bye Bye Birdie. Conrad, do you know this? Do you
They're
know
doing that
I've
this
seen the
year
movie.
at somewhere downtown.
Is that right?
Yeah, they've got posters for it.
It's loosely based on the whole business when Elvis was drafted into the Army, and all the girls in the country went crazy because Elvis Presley got drafted into the Army. And so there's this, it's all fictitious, but there's a star named Conrad Birdie. And so he's getting ready to go off to the Army, and he's going to give one last kiss to one last lucky girl before he goes off into the Army. So there's a big contest as to who's going to get it. Yeah.
Is this the one where you played the mayor?
It is. Yes. Boy, you got a memory.
Yeah, that's.
Obviously, I've referenced that before. There's a wonderful scene in the play where everybody is on the telephone. And the main girl is Kim, I forget her last name, and her actual boyfriend is a boy named Hugo. And they're together, but then Kim is going to win the contest to kiss Conrad Birdie. And so she's all excited about that, and of course that upsets Hugo because she's his girl and all this kind of stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And so there's this scene where all the kids in town are on the telephone with each other. And the girls are calling the girls, and the guys are calling the guys. Did you hear about Hugo and Kim? let's see, did they really get pinned? This is back in the day when a girl would wear the pin of her boyfriend. Especially this was big in college. But I think in high school too, you would have class pins in addition to class rings. And so the boy would pin the girl. He would give his class pin to her, and she would wear it on her class sweater.
I like that.
So did they really get pinned? Did she kiss him and cry? So they're all talking back and forth. And that's what's going on here.
It sounds like there's a scene like that in Edmund Scissorhands where they're talking.
Yes.
Mass.
I like that one more.
Yes, there is. And so they're all going around.
I've never
Hey,
seen
did
it.
you hear? Did you hear? Aeneas? How did you hear about Aeneas? Oh, I heard he's a Trojan guy. Yeah, that's right. He's from Trojan blood. Oh, did you hear that Dido has decided to go with this Trojan guy? And so this is the kind of stuff, the next 2 lines, describing what Fama is saying. Nunc him inter se luxu, quam longa, volvere regnorum memores terpique cupidine captos. And what else are the wags saying? This is another term, this is an old term for people who gossip, is to call people a wag, as in the sense of their tongues are wagging. So what else are the wags saying? They're saying, well, nunc him inter se luxu, quam longa fovera regnorum in memores turbi cupidine captos. Now notice all these are indirect statements, right? We've got venisse, and then we've got fovera here. And what else are they saying? That they have cherished this hiemem, this what's up? This winter, inter se, in luxu. Ooh. We've got a good derivative though. In splendor, in luxury. Oh yeah, did you hear about, I heard about, well, what I heard was that they're happy that it's been a longa hiemens. It's been a long winter, because that means really that nobody had to go outside, and they've been able to spend the whole time together in luxury. And somebody else comes along and says, yep, they've been in memores regnorum.
They have been forgetful of the king.
Yeah, we're close of their regnorum.
Their
Kingdoms. Now, well, we'll come back to that. And they have been captos. Enslaved, that's nice. They've been captured. They've been enslaved by a turpy cupidine. Shameful desire. Okay. All right, several things to say here. So you've arrived at winter, or it's that kind of time of year, storms of the sea. So Aeneas isn't going to go anywhere anyhow. You're probably not going to go outside working on the city anyhow. So what else have Aeneas and Dido got to do? Play Scrabble. So they're inside playing Scrabble, and what's interesting, the wags are saying that they are not mindful. Notice the number of regnorum, singular or plural.
2 plural.
Both the Trojans and the Carthaginians have a problem with this. Okay, Carthaginians are upset that their queen is not dutifully leading them, and the Trojans are concerned that their king, who's effectively their king now, because Priam's dead. So really, Aeneas is the de facto king of the Trojans at this point. He's their only leader, and he's not leading them onto their destiny. They're completely forgetful. And then it's no big jump to label their relationship now as turpis. Do we know the word turpitude? Well, there's a good word. English comes from this adjective turpis. Turpitude. Okay? And it used to be, in the old days, when we still had some notion of a moral compass, that public figures would sometimes be brought up on charges of moral turpitude. You could be fired from your job.
Really?
For moral turpitude. Basically, doing naughty stuff, and whatever that naughty stuff was.
Bill Clinton.
Where did that
threw
go
out
away?
the window.
And well,
What are you talking about?
I'm not sure, there wasn't a whole lot left to throw, I think, by his
Wow.
time.
Had sexual relations with that one.
I'm not sure there was a whole lot left to throw by that time, but what little was left got jettisoned. But that's it. Okay.
Classic Latin.
Haec passum dea foeda virum defundit in ora. Okay.
This.
Okay. Okay. This dea foeda. This loathsome goddess. Defundit virum in ora.
Spread.
I'm sorry. Don't take hike with dea foida. Take hike as summarizing all that's gone before.
So amongst
This stuff, right? These things, the loathsome goddess. Who's the loathsome goddess here? Fama, rumor.
Oh.
These things, all this kind of talk, the loathsome goddess, defundit, spread into the aura virora. Not the aures, but into the mouths of the men, passim. Everywhere, here and there. So there's men everywhere, here and there, were saying this kind of stuff. She defundit, she pours these kinds of things into their aura. Protinus ad regem cursus de torque yarban incendit quanimum dictis ad quageret iras. Okay. Protinus, or immediately. She's still talking about the loathsome goddess. She de torquid her cursus. She turned away her course toward the regem Iarbas. His name is Iarbas, capital Iarbas. We'll talk about him in just a minute. She turns her,
To the region of.
not the region, to the Rex, to the king Iarbas, and she enkindled his animum.
She
She burns his animum with dictis.
Mind words.
She burns his mind with these words. She sets him on fire with these words, and she agaret iras. She what? She increased. She built up his anger.
Is they
Okay.
torque what? Where torque comes from?
That's where torque comes from. Yes, it is.
I thought you were about
Base
to
meaning
say
is to
torque.
twist. It's also where torture comes from. Same word. Torqueo, torquera,
Is that
torsi,
one thing?
torsi.
Like
It's
torqued up?
torsion, torque, and torture all come from the same word.
I thought you just did a.
I've been to the Museum of Torture in Florence, someplace in Italy.
Yes, I have too.
Yeah.
In Florence.
It terrified me. I was like,
Yes.
I was 11 years old, and I was like, what?
Yes.
No one else wanted to go in because it was like 20 euros or some ridiculous price.
Yeah. Well, especially when your parents threaten to leave you there. Now, here's the thing.
No.
Okay, I was looking for. Yeah. Okay. Look. Keep your hand where you are, and look back at line 36. Okay. Back to 36. This is the part we skimmed over. When Dido was saying to Anna, "What do I do?" There's this Studley guy here, and my heart's going pitter-patter as it has not for a long time. And but yeah, I still feel loyalty to Sakai's. What do I do? Remember, Anna said, "Look, you got to think of your people. We're in a hostile territory." And besides, she says, "You have already despectus Iarbas
Forsaken Yarbas.
and alii ductores." Apparently, there were some other local chieftains who had already pursued Dido. Chief among them was Iarbas. Now, when word gets to Iarbas that not only has she turned him down for the dance, but that she's going with the quarterback from the other school, okay, dude's upset, right? Talking about getting ira, right? He's getting angry. And so rumor just causes all kinds of trouble like that.
You know how they did that modern day Romeo and Juliet? They should do a modern day Aeneas.
Oh,
Quarterbacks.
yeah, quarterbacks, right.
Yeah.
But like, how would they do like?
Are you talking about the ones like modern,
like
the word is
kingdom,
the
like
same?
how?
He's
He's burned down.
Oh, a bunch of his, like, his school got burned down, yeah. Like,
That's
they were
horrible.
going-
That's horrible.
You guys need to flushing in. All right, but
No, I'm seeing this, absolutely. Absolutely,
I missed this.
this is so doable and so plausible. Okay, this is so doable and so plausible. You've got the quarterback from another school. He has somehow actually lost his family. and moves to this new school. He's alone, and you know your kind. You go for the sad guy who needs, ultimately it taps into this deep maternal instinct, and you gotta mother this guy. And so here comes this guy, and he's hunky, but he's sad. He's kind of withdrawn. And the captain of the captain of the cheerleading squad, she starts to fall for him. And then the big, beefy, muscle-headed dude on the football team she's really going with, he gets all upset, because she's going for this guy. No, that could happen. I can see this. This is like a Lifetime movie or something. What's that?
And then she kills herself.
Well, Okay.
Good ending.
Now, talk about Yarbus.
Grease.
Listen, Yarbus had no weak pedigree, okay? Here's Aeneas. He's son of a goddess. He's a war hero. Listen, Yarbus was no slouch. Listen to Yarbus's pedigree here. This guy, Hic, Hamone Satus, Rapta Garamante de Nympha, Tempora Jovi Centum Latis Mania Regnis, Centum Aros Pasuit. Now this guy, he says, was Satus from Hamone. Born from this guy named Hammon. All right, what's all going on here? First of all, he was born of this guy from Rapta Garamantide Nympha. Okay. Folks, there's no smooth way to put it. Of course, it's AP. We should be able to talk about this. We all know that as a character, Zeus/Jupiter raped his fair share of mortal women.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Of course, that's what rape comes from. Rapio, rapera, rapui, raptus, literally to violently seize. The verb is sero, serera. The fourth part is satus. Okay? This is the verb that means to sow, as in seed. This is a verb for farmers. All right? You sow seed. Literally, he was sown from the father. Okay? So basically, the father, Hammon, from this seized or raped North African nymph. So she's a nymph, so she's a little bit on the divine side, but his father is really somebody special. You know who Hammon is?
This is God, the famous for his oracle identified by the woman with Jupiter.
It's Jupiter.
It's Jupiter.
Zeus.
Oh.
Now,
I read the difference.
Zeus, Ammon, had his oracle, had his site of prophecy out in the Egyptian desert at a place called Siwa. Now, Carthage is over here, okay? Siwa is over here. But still, there's kind of this overarching thing that the cult of Zeus or Jupiter Ammon kind of spreads throughout North Africa, okay? This is important because this is where Alexander the Great went to find out that he was the son of Zeus. He went to the oracle of Zeus Ammon at Siwa. Now here you've got Virgil calling him Zeus Hammon. Well, we've talked about that H before. That H is a goofy letter because in Greek it's a rough breathing. And sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. Now, Catullus, a poet we used to read, but well, I guess you read some last year, some Catullus.
Yeah.
Catullus distinctly made fun of a fellow who put H's in front of words where they really shouldn't be. So it was a sense of, you really would not expect somebody at a White House dinner to go around saying y'all. Right? There's just something about that word y'all that in our language it sounds sounds kind of hick, sounds kind of redneck, and so on.
It's funny, for like the last 3 presidential terms, y'all has been the norm. For like Bill Clinton and both of the Bushes.
Well,
And
true. Right, you would not expect you would not, well, honestly, with Romney from Massachusetts and Obama from Illinois, you would not expect either of these guys to go around dropping y'all.
Yeah.
That would just be ridiculous.
Wait, did you say Illinois?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
He was senator from Illinois.
Oh, I was thinking of Thorn.
Right now, senator from Illinois. Okay, so this guy's pretty good bloodline.
Opinion.
This guy, born from Jupiter Ammon, of a ravished North African nymph. And by the way, I gotta say, look, you can't put a positive spin on that. I mean, obviously, it's a heinous thing. But if you just don't like using the word and it's kind of too violent, a good old-fashioned word is ravished. Ravish. Okay, that really is what an old-fashioned term for rape, really. So this ravished nymph, what does he do? What did he do? Well, this Yarbus guy, he posuit Kentum Templa Yowie. He was a good kid. When he became a king and a good man, he posuit Kentum Templa. He put up 100 temples to whom? Yowie, to Jupiter. Right, so he's a good son. He put up 100 temples to his dad. 100 Imania temples. Synonym for magna.
Huge.
100 huge temples throughout his Latis Regnis.
His wide kingdom.
Throughout his wide kingdom. He put up Kentum Aras. 100 altars. And he had Sakrawirat the Wigilem Ignem. They consecrated the Wigilem Ignem. Vigilant fire. Basically the fire that was not going to go out. Okay, so he'd set up a fire to burn in the memory and the honor of Jupiter. And he'd done all this kind of stuff, so he was being good. Now, here's the question. What question do you think Yarbus is going to have for dear old dad?
What did I do?
What did I do to deserve this? Exactly. I've done all that was right. Here comes this interloper, right, from a conquered people, moves in. Why, I got egg on my face or something? What's wrong with me?
I mean,
Yeah.
face is the obvious.
Yeah. Danielle.
Okay, so were altars and temples different things?
Well, altars in the temples. It's just emphasized. It's just emphasized.
Oh, okay. And then what you just said about the egg on my face, did you guys ever see like that? I thought it was a really bad movie.